Okay, I really shouldn't be talking to you because I do have a case, and I'm leaving for San Diego day after tomorrow. But can't help myself. So I just saw, as many of you have seen, that Israel just launched a series of rocket attacks into Lebanon, into Beirut, and killed. I don't know if they know the exact number, but it was somewhere around 260 people. Many of them children. And it's like this war would never end. And I just heard Biden talking to the United Nations, and he was saying principles with which I generally agree. But he says Israel has a right to exist, and the United States is dedicated to ensuring that Israel exists. It has a right to defend itself or herself, whatever they say these days, and to exist. Well, the problem with that is Benjamin Netanyahu knows he doesn't have to worry about Iran attacking him because the United States has a fleet positioned right off the coast with all of their fighter bomber jets and missiles all over the place. And that if Iran tried to directly attack Israel, the United States would have to get involved and protect Israel because Iran could easily defeat Israel by itself. So Israel is sitting there surrounded by people who hate it. And they hate it because the Jews that settled in Israel, what is modern Israel, went in there and they booted out the people who were living there. Many of those people became refugees, which flooded the surrounding territories, particularly Jordan and Egypt and Lebanon and Syria. And so that caused a huge pressure and problems for the surrounding Arab countries. But also this notion that Israel just marched right in and said, this is ours and we're taking it, like in the movie Exodus, this land is mine. God gave this land to me. Well, God didn't give them the land. They took the land. And so they've been hated by the people surrounding them forever. Well, Israel by itself could never have survived militarily against all of these people. Israel economically couldn't have survived. They survived because we give them billions of dollars a year in military aid and in direct financial aid. We give that to no other country in the world. We give it to Israel. And without that, Israel doesn't exist. But more significantly is this commitment to the defense of Israel by whatever means are necessary to ensure Israel's survival. That means Netanyahu can bomb Lebanon, he can bomb Gaza, he can bomb Syria if he wants to. He can go after anybody he wants to. Now, those people will bomb back, and they will send rockets back, and they will shoot guns back. But at the end of the day, Israel is not going to have to worry about going under, because if it gets close to that, the United States will get involved and bail them out. So as long as that's our policy, we can pretty much guarantee that there's going to be expanding military conflict in the Middle East. The problem is, if we go in the opposite direction, it means Israel's going to disappear. My prediction has been for a long time that Israel will eventually disappear, and it will go down in history as a failed experiment. And the Jews that are there, so many of them some will still be able to continue to live there in peace and harmony with their Arab neighbors as they did before the creation of the State of Israel. Many of them will have to flee. And there's only about, I forget how many millions of Jews there are there, but it's in the world scheme of things, it's not that many. They can be absorbed into other countries, notably the United States. I mean, the United States is basically the last refuge of everybody who wants to get out of another country. And it should be. You know, my people, my Irish forebears wouldn't be here if it weren't for that. Lots of people wouldn't be here. And of course, I don't want to get off on attacking the Republicans again, but then the know-nothings and the anti-immigration Republicans. But every wave of immigrants that has come here has been met with hostility from the people of the descendants of today's modern MAGAs. Been met with that just unbridled anger and hostility and bigotry and prejudice and all the things which characterize today's MAGA party. And if you're a MAGAite, you better be taking a look at yourself, and you don't agree with those philosophies. Take a look at the map and realize where the MAGA people are located, little maggots. So, anyway, getting back to Israel, which, sorry if I deviated, Ross. We were talking about Israel, so you can get back to reorient yourself. That's eventually is going to happen. So in the meantime, as long as our policy and Trump's, and somebody should ask Trump, what's your policy about Israel? Are you one of these Israel at all costs, no matter what? And if Israel is in a situation where they're attacked by Iran, what are you going to do? Mr. I keep us out of every conflict. What are you going to do? You said, all for Israel. I've heard you. We're all for Israel. Israel, 100% Israel. And you Jews that don't support me, well, you're just anti-Israel. So he's all for supporting Israel, but he's also all for keeping us out of any wars. So what's he going to do? He's going to tell Iran, don't you go after Israel, because if you do, I'll bomb you. And if Iran ignores him, what's he going to do? Is he going to bomb him? Is he going to start a war with Iraq? Or with Iraq or Iran? Iran, is he going to start a war with Iran to defend Israel? Or is he going to say, well, I told you not to do that, doggone it, and you did it anyway. Well, gee whiz, that's too bad. Because I really didn't mean it when I said that we would bomb you back into the Stone Age, because I've also told the American people I'm never going to get us involved in a war. So which is it, Mr. Trump? You, Trump supporters, ask him that. Demand an answer from him. He never answers anything. Just change the subject. So that's our situation. We've got basically two parties. Kamala Harris says she's, determined to make sure Israel survives, but she's also concerned about doing something to stop Netanyahu. And then you got this other character over here, this Donald Trump. He says he loves Netanyahu and he's all for Israel and he'll do everything that's possible, that's necessary to make sure that Israel survives. But it's the subtlety there is, and he also will support anything and everything that Netanyahu does on behalf of Israel. Really on behalf of Netanyahu. So that's a subtle difference, but it can make a big difference in terms of how Israel and Netanyahu conduct themselves in the future. If he's got Trump at his back, he will be wild and crazy. If he doesn't have Trump at his back, in other words, if he's got Kamala Harris, he's going to have to be a little more careful, particularly if she gets elected by any kind of sizable majority, as I suspect and hope she is. So that's it. I just was watching Biden. I read the headlines. I saw about what Israel did yesterday, which was pretty awful. Not saying it was justified or not justified. It was pretty damn awful for the people living there, particularly the children, and that makes me sick to my stomach. So I was watching, then I saw Biden talking to the United Nations, a wonderful speech. But again, we're all in for Israel, and Israel should stop behaving as badly as it is under Netanyahu. Where's the policy? What are we going to do about it besides talk? Nobody's listening. And they're not listening because Netanyahu knows he can do whatever he wants to, because the United States has his back no matter what he ultimately does. And somewhere down the line, that's got to change. And I wish I could be more pleasant about that this morning, but if you want pleasant, you can always go drink. Works for most people. Bye.